Divas, we are back with another episode of the podcast, and today, in the Lord's year of 2025, I had to reach out to the big guns to talk about all the things going on in not the world, but in the Bravo world. And dear friend of the pod, Megan Gailey, is back. You can follow Megan at Megan Gailey, at Better Megan Gailey, on Instagram, and make sure to check out her Substack that's linked in her Instagram, because she has linked a ton of resources of GoFundMe's to help families that are struggling with being unhoused in LA through the LA fires. And then after you do that, just kind of look at Megan being hilarious on her page. So do all that, because we're living in multitudes right now. Megan, welcome back to the podcast. So good to see you.
I'm so thrilled to be here.
I always feel like when I corner you, we get you here, you're always like, I thank God I can talk about my shows.
Absolutely.
You need the release to speak on these shows.
Yeah, because I host a sports podcast, and they're always like,
right.
"Oh, are you watching this 8th Yellowstone spinoff?" And I'm like, my brown husband is not. He is not allowing me to watch Taylor Sheridan films or whatever the man is making in Idaho. And so I have these shows. Like, I would say between Lexapro, the Dodgers World Series win, and Bravo, those are the things keeping me going. And obviously I throw in my husband and my child, but like, you need external things too, and those are doing some heavy lifting for me.
We have to find, we got to find what makes us kind of want to wake up the next day sometimes. And that sounds dark, but like, the world is very scary right now. I, in a dark moment, have decided to start watching RHONY season 7. So I'm almost done with that. Started that a couple days ago. I just needed to touch down with the 9 women they cast on that season, and how it's like Dorinda's first season, Bethany's return.
Carol is there. Heather.
Carol is in the mix. Heather. Yeah, Heather's last season.
Oh, like, Heather's last season.
Okay. Yeah, I just needed to kind of escape to the year 2014.
Yeah, the year 2014, a simpler time. Now, has Heather Holla Thompson weighed in on Diddy at all?
That's a great
Because
question.
that was her guy.
I think the world is waiting, Megan.
Like, I keep seeing people be like, Heather Thompson looks identical to Luigi Mangioni's attorney. And I'm like, amazing spot.
So that is so true. We need Heather in that red sweater with the white.
Yes. But I'm also like, I would like Heather's input on Diddy. Like, is she being blackmailed? Like, what's her perspective? Holla.
So rewatching that season once again. I don't know that I even suggested. I did just get to the season has, before the reunion, they have 20 episodes.
Wow.
A 20 episode season order, that is crazy.
And we needed every single one.
We did. So I'm at the point where Dorinda and Carol go to London. And I forgot. I mean, I remember it, but I didn't remember how beautiful that sequence was. Yep. Oh my God. I was literally just crying watching it.
Yeah. I'm also watching Traitors and seeing, and I'm saving that until tonight. That's like, I've got like a little mini Haagen-Dazs bar and my Traitors that I'll watch. We were out of our house for 2 weeks for the fires.
For
the fires. Just doing a staycation away from the fires. And so my 2.5-year-old son was out of school, and I would say probably getting more screen time than is healthy or recommended.
You know what though? We gotta get through this.
It was either that or breathe toxins. So we were
go screen.
Yeah, we were watching, and so he got really obsessed with laying in bed with me. Because he's just like, he calls it going on an airplane. He goes, I want to go on an airplane. And I'm like, yeah, we're in a pod and we watch TV. And so that's going on an airplane.
He's a Delta One girly.
He's never been in Delta One. And I don't see it trending that way unless my point points go crazy. And so I started watching Traitors. Like, we had been watching so much Miss Rachel, whatever. And I was like, listen, I'm going to be watching Traitors. You got to go in the other room with your dada. And he started watching Traitors with me, and he became obsessed. Like,
Oh
and
my
he was
God.
asking like high level questions. Like, he was like, why they mad at them? Like, like he's like, and he kept going, who bad guy? And so I'm like explaining it to him. He watched
Wow.
3 episodes, and then I noticed that he was chewing on the little cuff of his sleeve, and I was
Yeah.
like, baby, are you okay? And he goes, Traitors scary. And I was like, oh no, I'm so, because he kept asking to watch it, and then it like dawned on me like, yeah, this isn't
It is
appropriate
scary.
for a
They're like
2-year-old.
walking around in hoods, like trying to kill
So
you.
scary. And so then him and I had to have like a full conversation. I apologized. He was like, I forgive you. And so he is not
What
watching
an
Traitors
angel.
anymore.
What an angel. You know who we need? I would love to see Heather Holla Thompson in the Scotland
Oh
Traitors
my
house.
gosh.
You know, you
Yes.
forget how much she says holla until you go
Holla.
back.
Yeah.
Until you go back and watch it, and then also watch it just like when you binge it. She's constantly speaking in kind of like black language
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
feel kind of like appropriate for her to be, you know. She's always
Right.
like, holla, what's good?
I
It's just like,
know.
you're like, okay, maybe we pull it back a little bit.
Yeah, for a girl who like definitely seems like she went to a boarding school in Connecticut. I think I still follow her maybe. I definitely need to do like a clean out. And her son just went to college.
No.
Yes.
The kid with the hearing thing?
Yes. Like I was like, oh my God, these kids. I mean, even Taylor Armstrong's daughter like went viral on TikTok
Doing that
there's no
TikTok.
plane, baby. Like
I know.
these kids
What are
are
we doing? What's
grown.
happening? It's really scary.
Porsche getting a Porsche.
That made me sick, Megan. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Ditto.
Okay, let's just dive into it. So, on this episode of Beverly Hills, you know, we're kind of like not a lot's happening, but I do find it entertaining. I don't know about you. Like, it's not boring. It's just kind of like not eventful. For me, the most disturbing moment, honestly, was that scene of them throwing the 16th birthday party with the girls at the house.
Yeah.
Just like the state of the world right now. Like, honestly, it's a miracle it wasn't a Tesla. I'm actually shocked that it wasn't in many ways. But and you know that Mauricio is like like low key Trumper or maybe high key, but just not public about it.
I think it's out now. And
Yeah.
yeah,
There's
so
just
the
something disturbing about her getting that. Like, how much is that car? I don't know car.
$80,000, I bet.
Yeah, like get
Or
a
at
little
least
tiny. Yeah, get something small. Like you're 16.
what set off my gluttonous meter was when there were 3 boxes of donuts. And it's like no one in this family eats donuts. So like
No.
who are like so you just bought donuts to show on camera that you bought donuts. But no
Yep.
one is going to eat them. There were bagels and donuts, and it's like
No,
Kyle hasn't had a carb in 7 years.
since Mauricio stopped having sex with her.
Yes. Farrah has in colored contacts. You know she's not eating a carb. Like none of these
No.
girls are eating a carb. Mauricio's trying to have sex with 25-year-old Victoria's Secret models. So like I saw all that food and I was like, this food is all going to be wasted.
I
And that,
pray production got some.
yeah, I do hope so. And then you see the Porsche pull up for a 16-year-old. And like I think also because I have to drive in Los Angeles and sometimes I will be behind like a chromed out purple glitter G-Wagon driving
Yeah.
terribly, swerving, clearly on their phone, and then you get up next to it and it's like a 12-year-old. And you're just like you didn't even earn texting and driving. You know, like
Right.
you just were given this death mobile to torture all of us on the 405. And I was like, I know I'm going to pull up next to Portia and want to scream at her and make her knock her fucking Hailey Bieber Air Wand smoothie on her face.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think it just like just in with everything that's going on in the world right now in the country, like I just seeing these rich people, I got mad. I was like, I
Yeah.
know that this is what these shows are, right? But
Yeah.
like,
And
there's something about it that bothered me so deeply.
I do think yes, we are there for that, definitely. But like
Right?
while
Yeah.
we are on fire, it is tough.
Mhm.
And I also think because Kyle is being so selective with what
Yeah.
she is willing to show, and you see in her mind going, "Oh my god, we'll show Portia getting a new
Pushing in the
car." And
Porsche.
it's
Yeah.
like, Kyle, read the fucking room. You can show us Portia getting a new car, but you also need to show us that like you and Mauricio are not actually best friends and that you are sleeping with other people and maybe a lesbian. Like she is self-producing, and the fact that she thinks that's the one thing she should show just illustrates how lost and out of touch she is.
Could not agree more. I think this season could be her swan song. I
Ooh,
don't
it's fun.
need any more. I don't
Mhm.
need any more. Like
Mhm.
it's time. Like there's not really. It's not like them getting rid of an OG that like gone too soon. Like I don't
No.
even know that that's happened, but like a Vicky or a Luann, maybe you could argue, right? Like these OGs that create good content, at least.
Yeah.
She's not even creating any content
No.
anymore. Like she's just like
I'm like,
mad that
where's
people even know
Faye?
about her.
Like, can we get some
Yeah.
like some that's yeah, I really started to turn on her, I think last season, probably, because I
Hmm.
have always like semi enjoyed her.
Yeah, of course.
She does present as like quote unquote real. And her family dynamic has always been like fun because there's just dogs running everywhere and she does seem close with her children and all of that, but it's just
Yeah.
it like seeing her throw that temper tantrum too. I think that's what made the car scene tough too. It was like, I'm
Yeah.
throwing a temper tantrum because I'm clearly caught doing something, and instead of owning up to it, I'm going to tell everyone that they should be ashamed of themselves for trying to catch me doing anything. And then the next scene, I'm going to be giving my daughter a 80 to $100,000 car while no one eats donuts. And it's like, well, I think we're good.
I know. I completely agree. I agree with everything you're saying. Truly, I seeing those women look at her in their robes while she's sobbing, and they're all literally trying to be like, "Hey, like this
It's
actually
so good.
isn't a big deal." They're all literally trying to be like, "We're just trying to understand what's going on." I've never
Yeah.
seen someone. I've never seen someone so upset about just about her friends just trying to understand a situation, right? They're
Yeah.
not like accusing her. They're not. They're just like, you're sharing different stories. Can we just kind of all
Right.
get in the same page here so we can
Yeah.
move on? And she's
Yeah.
like, what you're not gonna do is do this on camera. And it's like, be real? I
Like
don't know. Like,
I
isn't that the
I
show?
know, and I actually do want it to drag on because I want Jennifer Tilly to keep saying mems.
Memes. They keep sending memes to each other.
And then they're like, she's Canadian. And it's like, I know so many Canadians, and I don't think they're saying mems. Like,
Yeah, I don't think so either. Memes.
she's, yeah, it's really, there's something about the dynamic between, like, the fact that Dorit now has, like, the new girl on her side, and the new girl is, like, a fabulous, high powered, badass woman, I think has
Yep.
Kyle shaking, too.
Yeah, I think she can see the writing on the wall for her. And Erica is really trying. She's really trying to stick by Kyle. I think she's like, wait, I thought that like we were in this alliance
Yeah.
as
Fox
the
Force
hot
5.
meat, yeah, the hot mean Fox Force 5, and
Yeah.
that's no longer. She's got to pick a side. And
Mm.
I don't think Erica in the end of it likes Dorit. But she's like
No!
I'm stuck with you.
1,000%. And I think that's how Kyle feels, quote unquote, stuck with Sutton and Garcelle. Kyle doesn't like Sutton and Garcelle.
No. That I think that is a little bit of my issue with this season is I feel like we're missing. Do you feel like when you're watching, you're like, wait, isn't there one more person?
Yeah.
Like every time we're
Like a
going,
bridge.
I'm
Hmm.
like, wait, there has to be someone else that didn't come. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, everyone's here
Yeah.
actually. And you're like,
Because
what is it? I don't know what the answer is, but we're missing
when
something.
the group took Erica to Chuck E. Cheese, I was
Yeah.
like, Erica hates Sutton. and
Yeah.
is out in the press saying Sutton kicks women when they're down. Yet Sutton is the one that's arranged this entire pizza party for her. Like, you're just seeing, like, Erica is the closest to Dorit right now, which also doesn't
Yeah.
feel right. But Dorit can't go to Chuck E. Cheese because she's not speaking to Kyle Sutton, and her and
Mhm.
Garcelle have always hated each other. So then you've just got these like configurations of people that don't actually fit sitting at a Chuck E. Cheese. But I'm still going, I'm having a fun time.
Yeah, I think that's my review on the season in a nutshell. Are you watching? You said you're watching all the girls. Did you stick with New York and finish
I've
this
seen I've
frightening
seen
ending?
every single episode of this reboot. Every episode. Haven't
Okay. Yeah,
missed a
same.
second.
I haven't I haven't skipped anything. Granted,
Yeah.
have I been playing Connections and not really watching for a lot of episodes? Yeah, I mean probably, but
Yeah. But like,
I
but we're doing our due diligence.
we're I say like I'm not I'll be like I'm not really tuning in anymore, and what that means I'm just watching like maybe 2 or 3 days later and like on my phone more. I'm not
Ah,
like Salt
yeah.
City the next morning. I'm like gotta watch it now on Peacock, but like New York, I'm coming to it maybe an extra 48 hours later. Except this finale, I had to jump on it immediately because I needed to see what's going on, and
Yeah,
it was quite the ending.
I have an unfortunate confession. There are episodes this season of New York that I have watched live. And like I just need that to
No,
illustrate
that
how depressed I am.
Megan, you've revealed too much. Do you want me to edit that out?
No.
Should I
I
bleep
need
it?
people to know because I'm 4 months pregnant. I was in my first trimester and really really sick. And so I was just in bed, and it's like, and the worst of my sickness is at night. And so it was
Mhm.
just like, it would get to be 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I think it's on. And I'm like, well, I got nothing else to do. Like, it really, that's a dark place to find yourself. Just stone
Wow.
cold sober, alone, real time watching with commercials.
And watching these women prank each other for
Ugh.
12 weeks
Yeah.
straight. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So this finale, we've been teased it for quite a bit now. I wasn't sure if it would live up. Sometimes it's
Right.
like they tease it and you're like, oh, that really, there was no
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
This exceeded the expectations in terms of the entertainment fact, like in terms of the I was glued to the screen more than
Yeah.
I expected
The
to be.
shock factor.
The shock factor, yes,
Hmm.
thank you. But for me, the darkness, it did not feel Bravo to me. It felt like we are entering a new genre. It was so deeply dark.
Hmm.
Where did you land with everything that unfolded?
I think I have FaceTimed with people. I've actually had a
Mhm.
lot of discourse with friends about people. I like read the full Rolling Stone article today, which actually wasn't that long. I don't know why I made it seem like it was a think piece. I just read some really long caption Aaron wrote.
Aaron, I saw that.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I feel I had my initial reaction, and now I'm
Mhm.
still sort of trying to gather information. I think I think whatever happened in that room when cameras were down and we hear Jenna, Raquel, and Aaron and Sai sort of telling us their point of view, I think
Mhm.
there's some sort of element, not that they're leaving out, but some sort of sense thing that we don't have because they all seem haunted
Yeah.
in a way that I'm like, yes, this is fucked up. I think we all agree on that. But if I had a friend who was Bryn, who I knew was a pathological liar or manipulative, and all the circumstances were the same, and and at the core of that, I still knew that person was sexually assaulted, I do think that I'd be reaching out to them after.
I agree. I think I would too because, I've dealt with people in my life that have gone through really frightening situations like this
Hmm.
before, and you stick by them like regardless of their behavior after the fact because like that's what you do as a friend,
Hmm.
and people's reactions to trauma can really be all over the board, right?
Yes.
Of like, and people can act unreal. Like other like you just can't believe that this is your friend, you know?
Mhm.
Like and it she did something bad. Bryn
Yes.
did something really bad,
Mhm.
but I do think that the icing out is what confuses me
Mhm.
because like if I was one of those women, I think I would be like, we need to go
Yeah.
go get help.
Yeah.
Like this Brent, this is a cry for help.
Mhm.
And I don't know that she got the help or not, but like to me watching it, I was like, this woman, the way she was so relaxed sitting on that couch the next
Mhm.
morning, talking to
Mhm.
production as if nothing crazy went down.
Mhm.
It's like, oh wow, like I don't think this is your first rodeo of
No.
like manipulating things in your life. Like
Or just
I think
outright trauma.
trauma really revealing itself. I think she's built her personality around her over sexualization
Mhm.
and her kind of elaborating stories and all this stuff. And you kind of at first you're like, oh, that's just her fun. That's like her fun. That's fun, Bryn.
Mhm.
And then this episode really it opened up this whole can of worms. It was like, oh no, that is her response to trauma.
Mhm. Mhm.
And she's created this new person
Mhm.
that is this housewife,
Mhm.
right? Like I think this was like her direct like because the timing of it all too. I think this is her being like, I'm going to be this is my new opportunity to like
Persona.
kind of redefine who I am, my new persona,
Yeah.
right? And that is so scary and dark and I want her to get help. I don't want her to be on the show anymore. And I didn't I was wishing for her. I was hoping for her to leave prior to this cuz she was just bothering me, right? But now I'm like, no, you need to go
Yeah.
and not
And
be doing this on camera.
in the Rolling Stone article, because I think like the consensus of everyone that I've talked to is very similar to what we're saying of like, oh, this person needs help. And from the Rolling Stone article, she makes it seem like she very much is in therapy, has done
Mhm.
trauma therapy, has gone to support groups. Like now we all know that to do the work you actually like have to do the work, and who knows the extent of how much she's able to even like be honest with herself, but
Yeah.
it is just really, yeah, there feels like there's an element missing. And even before this I've watched her because we went to the same college at the same time,
Yes, we've talked about this before.
and know mutual people but do not know each other, and she's from Indiana, I'm from Indiana, like there's like she's the one before this premiere. College friends were like, oh my god, so and so was on this, so I've like known who this person was, so I think there's like an element for me that's maybe more fascinated, because there's
Mhm.
just one less degree of separation. And I've been like, no one would want to be this girl's friend in real life based on how she acts on the show. And it does seem as though she does have friends, especially people that do not have a like traditional or close family structure. Their friends usually become their family. And so I know she
Yeah.
has her brother, her grandmother has passed, but it seems like she has very close people in her life outside of that. And I'm like, she
Mhm.
must be different off of the show, because even when they broke the fourth wall and we saw her coaching Rebecca Minkoff to be like, give it back to me, it's like, how much of this is for the show? And did
Yeah.
she just get caught up in that? But like, I I do find myself sad for her. And obviously you cannot let your past like dictate your future and how you treat people. But someone like Erin, I actually find so distasteful. And like I
Mhm.
actually dislike and think is a more, because like Bryn is manipulative and perhaps a pathological liar. I think Erin is too. And I think Erin like believes her own bullshit. And Erin seemed to have a lovely, affluent childhood. Her parents were divorced, and I know that that could be tough. I feel for her that her mom is sick and her dad has passed away. And I want her to have to answer for things at the reunion, and I don't think she's going to have to, because everyone with her cheering on has been like, Bryn is the bad guy. And it's like, you've
Yeah.
been right there with her for all of this, minus this last most horrific thing she did.
Yeah, I agree. But to me, Aaron, do you know people in your life that like I've talked about this on the podcast before, and I think it's probably something I need to unpack in therapy, but sometimes I feel not resentment, but like kind of I get closed off to people who you can tell have never had to experience
Yes.
something traumatic, right?
Yes.
And Kix and I experienced a lot of death really young, like from the age of like for me from like junior
Mm.
year of high school through like senior year of college.
Mm-hmm.
And it became very regular, like the amount of like death that was happening. And it was like with people, in some instances, surprises, some instances, our family's very old, like, but like they are, we're the only children that anyone had besides my dad's sister had one kid. So it's like everyone is just like old. Everyone's like grandparents age, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But like, we don't walk around the world being like 10 funerals, shout out. Like,
Yeah.
it's like not like something, it's not something that we carry with us, right? But like, it's something that we've had to do. You just
Mm-hmm.
figure it out. But, but you can tell when some people in life, right,
Mm-hmm.
like haven't
Been through
gone
anything.
through
Yeah.
anything. Or like the thing they've been through was like a breakup, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like, and she did share her story about like her having to get an abortion in
Don't even
college. I'm not
fucking
trying,
get me started.
I'm also not trying to like, I'm not trying to pit. Here's what I don't want to do. I'm not trying to pit people's trauma against each other. I'm just saying like sometimes people who haven't gone through a ton of things don't have a lot of empathy for those
Right.
that are dealing with the magnitude of what Bryn has dealt with. And
Yeah.
so I don't think that Aaron's a good person to be friends with for Bryn. Like Bryn needs someone who's going to check her
Mm-hmm.
and be like, "Girl, we can't let this define us."
I think you could have even just, I don't think Erin's a good person, period. And that's how
I know, giving her
I,
more credit.
I,
You
re-
really dislike her. I'm
I
kind of fine on
really
her, but I
dislike her.
understand. I understand your
I
dislike.
remember last season when she was like, no one has ever spoken to me like this. And I'm like, bitch, what? Like, they're not even speaking to you, crazy. Like, I already know you went to a school where you were coddled. You were coddled in your home. Like, you've never had a stranger yell at you in your face. How the fuck did you live in New York for your entire life? Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. And so she's just really, she's someone that's so impossible to root for
Yeah.
because she never takes any accountability. Like, even
Mhm.
that caption she wrote of like, I can't believe I'm being called out. It's like, well, you've also lied on tape.
A lot.
You told
Like a
Jessel,
lot.
you told Jessel you stood up for her? We literally
That
saw
was
the
crazy.
three of you and like, and then when Jessel's like, well, yeah, you said you stood up for me and Sai said you did it. And she's like, oh, I can't believe I'm having to do this. That's like, that's not what the reaction should be. The reaction should be, listen, I said some things I shouldn't have. I also thought I stood up for you. My bad.
Yeah.
And she's like incapable of doing that. Her abortion shit was so upset. I watched the entire, was it Glamour or Elle? I watched the entire interview.
Oh, uh-huh.
I wrote a Substack about it. It really, really upset me.
Okay.
Because I think it was absolute. I have had an abortion. I've spoken publicly about having an abortion.
Yeah.
I have hosted Planned Parenthood rallies in red states where 6-week abortion bans went into effect while I was still breastfeeding my own child. And it is not comfortable. It is not easy. It is not safe work to do. And she wanted it controlled with her narrative to help like restore whatever image she wanted to be out there in the world because people found out that she was a Trump voter. And then in the interview, she's like, I don't think it is a political issue. And it's like, bitch, none of us want it to be. Like, that's all we're saying, but it is. The Supreme Court fucking decided it. Okay? So like that
Right.
is what it is. And she refused to say who she was voting for. And it's like, we don't need you. If this is who you're going to be, if this is how you're going to stand up for it, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, because white women that said that this was their biggest voting, this was their single issue, right? If a lot of white women this election said that as a single issue voter, abortion was what they were voting for. They said that out loud, right? But then in the voting booth went the other way. Voted
Absolutely.
for
Yeah.
their money.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that is a big that happened across this country.
Mhm.
And white women are a big culprit of why we're in where we're at. And
Yes.
it's a product of the society we're in, but like y'all, like you got to stand up for yourself. And
If you're gonna do
she
it, do
really is
it.
not.
And like
Yeah.
you're in full hair and makeup talking to your friend and acting like you're putting yourself out there. And like, I get you having to tell your dad that was difficult. Okay. I had to tell my dad because I was getting death threats and people wanted to fucking kill me because I talked about it on a podcast. Yeah, okay. This is what it is.
Right.
And I'm sure she got backlash. And so it's like I'm not trying to discount that. I just think she thinks of herself as this really amazing good person. And it's like you're kind of just a boring, slow talking dumb bitch.
You know, I can't disagree with you. But should she be?
I
I
also have a
wait,
friend.
Megan. Wait, you drinking out of this cup is bringing. Is
My
this like a pizza parlor cup?
Yeah, it's we have like the Pizza Hut OG cups.
I am a,
I will say too, I also have a dear friend who used to work with her and said she's a capital C awful person. So I
can
think
totally see it.
so I think that's like clouding me and like lying about like a lot of her life and wealth and all of it. But I do like her mother and
and
I
God
hope her
bless.
baby is healthy. You know, like I don't want her to like I was gonna say
I
trip down
get
the
it.
subway stairs, but it's like she's not going on the subway. She's never been yelled at in her life. Like,
Yeah, the response. I never understand writing paragraphs in a comment section, which is what she did to the Rolling Stone article. I'm not gonna read the whole thing because it's honestly boring. But Queens of Bravo posted the like comment as like a grid post. So if you haven't seen it, go look at it. But essentially, Bryn said like that Erin is a sister to her.
yeah,
They'll always be fine. All this stuff. Erin decided to write in the comments section like sister. That's a stretch, and just like
which is
ripped her apart.
crazy.
I'm like, text her. Text her. I will not. Y'all, get off of get out of the. Unless you're
Crazy.
unless there's a joke or like a proud of you.
Yeah,
I'm like, just text
clapping
me.
hands.
Yeah, like just text me.
And I do think I'm sorry to be bringing in like such heavy things,
It's
but
okay.
this episode was heavy, and I think my reaction to Bryn too is I lost a friend to suicide who was afraid of terrible things coming out about them. And so
Yeah.
whenever this happens, and like cancellation is not real, but if it's real for anyone, it's real for women of color. And so I worry when all of a fan base or a society or turns against someone really intensely that they're going to harm themselves. And I think because of Bryn's past and trauma and how intense this reaction has been, that I do worry that she is perhaps
agree.
unsafe.
I completely.
And I don't want her to be unsafe at all.
No, and no one's wishing that on her. Even the cast is like, girl, we just want everything to be okay.
Yeah.
I just think they're all feeling extremely confused, and it's crazy they ended their trip early,
I
so they were supposed to
know.
keep
I
filming.
know.
And she's sitting that's I truly the shot of her on that couch is what was most confusing and disturbing to me. Like her just so relaxed knowing that she set that house on fire that night.
Yeah.
And I can see her going into that room being
I
like,
know.
I've been thinking about it. Maybe she did. Maybe Uba didn't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, like you must have a lot of shit to be
Going
able to
on.
go in and do that. Yeah.
They seemed really drunk.
I couldn't tell because like part of me was like, is it she looked crazed. Truly,
Crazed.
Brendan.
When she's like, I'll get
I
tax returns
yeah.
and pay stubs, it's like, oh, we are spinning out.
And Uba doesn't drink. So
No,
like
no, Uba wasn't drunk, but like Aaron and Bryn seemed drunk.
Aaron and Sai I think were a little fucked up.
Yeah.
But like I think the rest of yeah, I don't know. But then yeah, Jenna doesn't drink. Raquel was not. But yeah, I don't know how we, I guess, move forward from here though, right? Like the season was pretty bad,
Yeah.
and this ending was really crazy.
Yeah.
And the reunion is probably going to bring no clarity, and it
No.
looks like everyone continues to be like, "Bryn, you're not getting it."
Yeah.
That's at least what we get from the trailer.
Yeah. And the ratings are bad. So it's not
The
like,
ratings are
oh,
bad.
this is dark and like it's a hit. It's like this is dark and no one is watching it. I really do think Jessel is like very fun to watch, gorgeous. I find her and Pavit's dynamic interesting. Like the
Mhm.
two boys being crazy. Like I am interested in following Jessel's life. I think Sai made a complete 180 in such a good way of just like,
Yeah.
oh, she took those notes and she applied it. And then like, Jenna, if you're not going to show us your girlfriend, I'm good. Uba,
Mhm.
if you're not going to show us your boyfriend, I'm good. And like, is there a world where we can take some of them, maybe the Lindsay Hubbards, and maybe some of the old cast? Dorinda seems ready to fight everyone. Her and Lindsay Hubbard have a feud right now. Like, is there a happy? I want to see what's going on with Luann. Sonia moved out of her townhouse. Like, there are really monumental things happening with parts of the last cast that I'm
Mhm.
interested in. And I think there's pieces of this cast. And it's very obvious that this new cast never met each other before they started filming. So this like idea that it's like, well, they don't know each other, they're from different generations. It's like, well, Jenna and Jessel are from different generations. Like, when has that ever
Yeah.
stopped us? I don't know.
Yeah, I think the show will continue, unfortunately, in some way, but I don't know who will be in it. I think the Lindsay Hubbard, Paige DeSorbo route is the way to go, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Lindsay can't be on Summer House anymore with a kid. It's just not going to work.
Why is she still on it? I mean, I guess
Yeah,
she's on it
I don't know.
pregnant.
She's on it pregnant, but I still don't even know how she did that. And
I have no idea.
I think Paige being free from Craig gives her opportunity to like level up even more.
Yeah.
And she's the same. She's probably like a couple years younger than Aaron. Did like not
Yeah,
Aaron
Aaron's
is
like 35.
I think she's younger than that. I think
Wow.
she might be younger than me, and I'm 34. I think she might be like 32 or something like crazy.
4 kids is so crazy in New York City. 4 kids is
It is,
crazy anywhere, but just
yeah,
like, yep, we live in Manhattan, we have 4 kids. I immediately go, oh, well, that person's unwell.
unwell and wealthy.
Unwell and wealthy.
Right. Well, let's move on. We have a couple of Salt Lake City reunion hit. And I thought we were, firing on all cylinders. I think Lisa Barlow is a fabulous housewife. She frightens me to my core.
Hmm.
And the way she can't really wrap her mind around this Bronwyn situation and why it's wrong
Hmm.
really bothered me. What about
Hmm.
you?
Yeah, when she was like, I'm in a lose-lose. It's like, of the six, let's call it 5 or 6 people involved in this situation, how you feel is the least important by like a landslide. Like, how is Bronwyn in a winning situation? How are these people whose son has passed away that don't know their granddaughter, which seems like was their choice?
Yeah.
Like, who cares how you feel?
No, no one cares. And the thing is, she just can never be. She is so afraid of being painted in a bad light,
She's
right?
a bad
That
person.
she,
That's what's
yes, she
so
is a bad
funny.
person. That's what's funny is like I think that is the core of her issue, right? Is that she's so scared of getting canceled
She's
that she just
awful.
cancels everyone's critiques of her, right?
Yeah.
I famously posted on my Instagram story the ad. She made an ad for Diet Coke like right before the season aired, and it was not like an ad like
Yeah.
commercials. It
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
an Instagram post, and it was like, I love Diet Coke at the salon. I love Diet Coke. And she's just going around all these places. And I posted it on my story, didn't tag her. And I said, and I bet you she loves Diet Coke at the Ted Cruz rallies. Guess who DM'd me
Yep.
not a minute after I posted that on my story and didn't tag her, Lisa Barlow, and told me to fuck off. In all caps, all exclamation points. It was like during press tour of the
Yeah, it's like,
show.
how did
And
you
like,
get this? I have a similar but different. Uh, I I did not follow Angie K. I did not
mhm,
tag her, but I love her father. Like, would do
So
anything for that
kind,
man.
yeah.
And so I think I posted a picture of him and on my stories and was like what I would do for Angie K's dad, something like that. She DM'd me and like it went to like my request because I don't follow her. She DM'd me like that night and was like, "Thank you so much. I'm gonna show this to him." And I'm like, "How did you see this?"
How do they get to these things? Like, I don't understand.
And it's like, what
And
are the
then,
Google alerts going on your
yeah,
Instagram? Like, if an A and a K and an OPA are mentioned, you're getting a notification?
I know. I mean, at least I did share a post of hers that is trackable if you have certain apps, I think, which is what
Yeah.
happened. But I didn't even say her name, and she found it. But I think I'm gonna kind of relate my situation to her to the show for a
Of
second.
course.
But I think it's because like she is so frightened of critique of her bad persona because
Yeah.
she's bad. She at
She's
her
bad.
core she is a bad person. And
Yes.
so when she gets critiqued for it, she's like, "No, I don't want to be canceled. I don't want to be canceled because I'm
Yeah.
racist because I am racist."
I am racist. Also, I don't know why Diet Coke needs any more commercials.
They don't. They
Wait,
don't.
it's people are addicted.
People are literally
Like,
my father has a extra large Diet Coke every day. Like people are severely like
oh,
in deep with DC.
my dad is in recovery and is addicted to Diet Coke. You know, like he has transferred
Yeah.
it to coffee and Diet Coke, and it's like, Godspeed, thank you for saving our family. So it's like I think the word is out there on Diet Coke. I don't know that we need brand ambassadors. But so it's like, did they ask her to do that, or did she just take that upon herself and added hashtag ad to legitimize it? She
Yeah, I don't
is
know.
such a bad person. When I saw that after show, because someone was like, because I don't watch the after shows. I should. There's a lot of good things. Someone was like, "You got to see this after show," and it had already been taken down. At Bronwyn's
Oh, really? The one where she
request.
said that?
Oh, it was taken down within hours because
I
I
didn't know
think
that.
Bronwyn, who's married to a very rich man, went to
Mhm.
Bravo and was like, "I will fucking sue all of you," and they were like, "Ah, I don't know."
That for her to not understand the ramifications of saying that, and for Heather and Meredith to just sit there and be like, Bronwyn is so dense, she'll never understand
She
Lisa's point
gets
of
it
view. It's like
now. It's like she does not.
she doesn't. She hasn't she's not apologizing. It was
I
crazy.
I think the fact that these grandparents, I do believe they knew that there was a granddaughter out there. I really do.
1000%. They
The fact
totally
that
do.
their child passed, which is so devastating, truly the worst
Yep.
possible thing.
Uh-huh.
But he has a child that exists less than 3 hours away from you, and you've made no attempt to ever meet this person who is your blood of your dead child is like unfathomable to me.
And Bronwyn has said over and over again, like, I never wanted anything from them. Like, it's not like there was like I have your son's kid, like, can you Venmo me $1 million?
Which
Like,
she'd
there's not
fully
even
be well within her right to do.
which she would,
Mhm.
but like she didn't even do that. And like she just went on to live her life. And I'm sure at some point I feel like the grandparents are punishing Bronwyn for not, like, I feel like they are going to put it on her, right? To be like, well, you never reached out. You never like you didn't make the effort. So
No,
why should we?
these are
It's
like
no,
deeply religious people who like hide
yep.
behind their religion and are at their core awful human beings.
You can just tell. Lisa Barlow's friends with them.
Yes.
Like, of course they're bad.
Of course,
They're
and
with the
Lisa Barlow
people.
loves them. So it's like, oh, they're rich and bad. They're
Yep.
rich and bad and attractive.
Like, what is the scenario though where Lisa hangs out with these oldies on the weekends? I don't really understand the vibe.
I
You know
think
what mean?
they're only like 10 years older than her.
Got it, because Bronwyn is younger than Lisa.
Yeah,
by a bit.
Bronwyn's 38. So
Okay,
the
and Lisa's probably
son
50.
so the son was would be like 38. So if the parents are 60, they had him at 22, which is like a Mormon 35. And so, yeah, I think Lisa's closer in age to the grandparents than to Bronwyn. The grandparents are younger than Todd, for sure.
Yeah, 1000%. Megan, I had not even thought about that connection. Yeah, Lisa Barlow is 50 years old. So yeah, you're probably right.
I think Todd's having a good reunion. I know we've
I
only
think
seen him
Todd's
for a
absolutely
minute,
eating.
and I'm like, oh, Todd, we are seeing Palm Pilot CEO. Like, he came to close this deal.
I agree. And the thing with Todd is, right, is like, you know, I agree with most of everything all of his points. I'm like, yeah. I just don't know that. I think where my issue with him is the dynamic feels not good between the
Off.
two of them
Yeah, yeah,
at
yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it just when he said that something wasn't very becoming on her, that that rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I don't want any of my girlfriends to have a man tell them that they're not being becoming in a certain way when they're like having fun
Yeah.
with their friends. Like, that's just like a really not that's a very like 1950s thing to say to someone. And so that rubs me the wrong way about
Yeah,
him, but
I think if he was, I agree. I think if he was like even 45 or 50 and was just using phrases that were of this time, then it would be like, oh, okay, I get what he's saying, but it feels like a surly father reprimanding a daughter.
yeah, completely. When she says cunt and he's like, "Don't do that at the table."
Like, it's like I say cunt in front of my dad. You know, like my dad would never say like that's not becoming on you. He'd be like, I don't know, this is how you make a living. It's strange, but I'm proud of you. Like, it's like I'm like my dad is like more forgiving of me than Todd is of Bronwyn. And but like it seems like I cannot imagine watching my marriage on television.
No.
Oh,
There's things about my relationship that would look crazy, I'm sure of it.
oh, I mean, even I do jokes alone, and most of the comments are, "I feel bad for her husband," you know, and it's like he's not even there. I'm not even. And sometimes I'm not even talking about him. They're just like, "She's married. Whew, he's in for it," you know. So I can't
Wait,
imagine them
I have
seeing.
to plug two things of yours. Okay, real quick. One, you made a wonderful reel a couple like last week or no, this week
I'm
of Trump
in
smelling like shit.
poop,
And I know that the bigots are
mad,
are probably
really
mad.
mad at me.
It brought me so much joy. So everyone, please go check that out. And then in the same in the same realm, your set that you did for the for like the MAGA people in
Oh
Idaho
yeah,
or something. Where
no,
were
it was in
you? Where
Venice, California. It was in Venice, Los Angeles. And it was like I got up there. It was for like a fancy gym in Venice, like a private show. And I got up there and I said like one sentence and I'm like, "Oh, you're all Trump voters." Like it was like clear they were Maha
yeah,
people. They were Make America Healthy Again. Because it was
yeah,
like blonde women whose hair did not look properly moisturized. And then you're like,
yes, like no flames in the building
I
from
know who
coming
you
in.
are. You are
Yeah,
like you're drinking creatine and not moisturizing.
yep.
And so yeah, I love to yell at people. I did not know that I went viral on MAGA Instagram until hours into it. And I was like, "Uh-oh. They are mad at me." Cuz I said he smells
How does
like
that
poop.
feel? It's honestly so funny, y'all. Megan literally the thing she just says like I've heard from sources that like he smells
Like
like he
poop.
just shit himself at all
Yeah.
times.
And like
But you don't even say shit. You're just like
I
he
say
smells
poo
like poop.
poo. I say poo poo. I'm still getting notifications right now. People are like so furious. So many of the comments are, I bet Joe Biden does. And it's like, I'm sure he does. Like they're all, I'm sure Todd smells like poop. Like, have you ever
It's
been
so funny
around?
though. Right, old people just smell like shit.
Yes. Have you ever been around a woman on her period? Like, there's smells. We have smells. And I'm like, you guys aren't going to make it 4 years if I can't even come on here and have a nice ha that he smells like poop.
Also, like, babe, this is the least of your worries.
He's a
That's what I want to
rapist.
say to
He's a rapist.
say this to the MAGA people. I'm like, y'all are defending him over his odor that you'll never smell in your life.
And it's like well documented. It's been reported for like a decade that he smells like poop.
Oh my God, that really got
And it's
me.
like, can't we just have this? You know, like it was like I was just trying to
Yeah.
bring a little levity to an awful time.
You're not outing anything like scandalous. They're really scandalized by it. I'm like, you're
Yeah.
telling me that you looked at him and were like, that is my good smelling Lalabo King. Like, that's not him. That's not him.
Also, like, have you ever smelled a spray tan? I know you have. Like, that
Yeah.
smells. Like, even like the best. I went to like the girl that does like Jennifer Lawrence, you know, and it's like there's
Hmm.
still like a spray tan odor. You know, he's not like washing it properly. He smells.
No.
He smells like poop and spray tan, like a bridesmaid's bathroom.
And fries in DC.
But like, they love him. They
They
love
do.
him.
He
And
could
and
do.
I
He could reveal the shit that's in his pants, and they
and
would love him.
I said, you guys, honestly, your love for him is inspiring. Cause like if someone said Joe Biden smelled like poop, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be like, how dare you come for my Joe Biden?
I know that's the thing that confuses me, right, about MAGA is that like you guys like are so in deep. You really love this man more than you love people that would
God.
actually do something for you.
I've
Well, forget God. Like, just there are people in this life that would help you, and he's ideally he never meets you in his world. He would never want to
He
meet
hates
these
you.
people. He
I've
hates you.
I've never in my life loved a politician. Never, not one.
No.
And like I've met low-level athletes no one knows and cried. But there is not like a Congress person you could put in front of me that I'd be like, "Thank you so much for everything you've done." Like I'd just be like, "Oh, why
You
are
did
you
your
doing
job.
this?" This seems like a weird path.
Right. I know. It's like a weird person to
Like
to stand.
I'm wearing Share merch. You know how many Share shirts I have? Like probably 10. I love Share. I love Daisy Duck. I'm obsessed with Daisy Duck. If I meet Daisy Duck, weeping. If I meet Cher, falling to the ground crying. If I meet Elizabeth Warren, I'll be like, I've got some questions. Thank you for some of the stuff, but Liz,
Yeah, you've definitely done some things, but like let's kind of chat some more about
yeah.
I have some feedback.
And
And the
like
thing
get
is
Bernie over here. Bernie, I got some questions for you.
right. And being a politician, you should be open to receiving that too, which is another thing about Trump that is
Yeah.
unbelievably
Oh,
infuriating.
Liz would go, I got answers. You know, she'd be
Yeah,
like, let's,
yeah, she was on a chat.
yes, yes.
So,
She'd be like, yeah, sorry. I said I was Native American. That's what my parents told me. And I go, girl, that's not even what I was going to ask about.
I forgot about that. Oh my God. Um, well, Reunion 1, is there anything else in Reunion 1? I'm so happy Angie K is sitting in the center,
Yeah.
and I'm so happy that she is angry about being a backup dancer. That's like why we love Angie K. Meredith was so confused. She was like, do I really need to make good TV right now and fight you on this? Like, she's so troubled by trying to fight her on the fact that she's a backup dancer.
The combo of Monica, Jen Shaw, and Angie K doing something creative together to be a fly on the wall while they're choreographing beats.
Can't I can't picture the Angie K of today even just being in being in Jen Shaw's presence. Like I feel like we've moved
Yeah.
so far past Jen. It makes me that I think that brings I love Angie K. I have
Love her.
the only hesitance I have is that she was friends with Jen Shaw. Like
Yeah,
close.
they all were. They all were.
I guess that's true.
And I guess you could say it's fear. But
She's
they
scary.
all do seem to know that she was a con artist. Cuz they're like even Heather's been asked, she's like, "Yeah, I knew it was probably not on the up and up." But like everyone in Utah is running an MLM. You know,
No
like there's a
MLM.
lot of predatory things happening there.
Yeah, I agree. The only other thing that really was taking me aback, they kept doing these shots of Whitney sitting next to Bronwyn.
Yeah.
And Bronwyn wore this beautiful red dress, a little much for a reunion stage. I'm gonna
Mhm.
just go out there on a limb and say And she clearly didn't think about the fact that she's sitting, right, the whole
Mm-hmm.
time. Like, it's more of that's more of like a moment standing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the shoulders are just pushing Whitney out of frame at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And Whitney just keeps like looking at the dress. And I feel like the dress is just like the metaphor of the show, like kind of pushing her, out of the cast.
Yeah.
I think it may be
Yeah.
her time to leave. I'm a Whitney defender, but I
Yeah.
just wonder where we go from here necessarily. I don't know.
I want Whitney to stay. There is there is just something about her that just feels like they need her. Like that she's just, you can always count on her for someone in the cast to hate her. And
Mhm.
and like the combination of her at this reunion, of the tone of her blonde and the brown of her spray tan. Like I kept staring like at where her armpits are, and her body is like, you know, incredible. And I'm just like, you got the darkest spray tan they would give you, and came out here with a smoky eye and just like a yellow blonde, and I'm not ready to see you go.
Yeah, and her continuing to say, I think she says fashion affordable jewelry line over and over again. Did you clock that? She kept saying fashion affordable jewelry line, which
her
that doesn't make
explanation
sense.
her explanation made no sense. Like she was like, it was a placeholder for 48 hours that you took from Alibaba, right?
Yeah, I think it's just like a Getty Images like jewelry photo. Like I think it's
Oh,
just stock
okay.
photo that
Okay.
both Alibaba and Prism
Sourced.
affordable fashion jewelry brands sourced from the
Well,
same
and then
place,
she's
right?
like, do you think I would get a tattoo of some? And it's like, yes, I've seen all your other tattoos. Like,
I do deeply think you would get that tattoo.
I really love so many spam risks. Trump, can you do something about the spam risks? I really love Bobby. I love Bobby so much, and I wish we
Bobby's
got more of her.
I agree. I think she's really sweet, but I also think it's okay in this
That the
she's in
children are not.
no, not in that. Like she's like in late middle school, early high school. Like
I
she doesn't need to be on
know.
camera during that time. So
And like to
no,
have
but
Whitney as your mom. Whew.
crazy times. I need Whitney to add more kind of like fast fashion to her sleeve. Like, can you imagine she has a fast Prism is featured like, you know, Zara, ASOS, like just has like all of the
Yeah.
affordable lines
She gets
featured
the
on her bicep.
XX1 for Forever 21.
Yes. Fashion Nova, tramp
You
stamp.
think I would get Abercrombie kids tattooed on my thigh? Like
You know
that's
someone
why,
does
like,
have it.
think about how much fun we're having just like talking about her. Like it's like there's like a levity to her because she's so, and she is being serious. Like when she's
She
like,
is.
wait a second. Like my toddler does this thing when he's thinking where he goes, and it's like so funny because it's like, what are you thinking about? Sherlock. And that's what Whitney does. She's like, my wheels are returning. And it's just like fun to watch her bop around. I want her on Traitors.
She would be great on Traitors. Here's the thing. I don't want her gone. It feels
No.
like the show wants her gone.
Well,
Like, I think that's my point. Like, it
yeah.
just feels like she wasn't in the back half of the season, like, at
No.
all.
But she
Something.
tries,
She does try. In every scene, she's like, okay, let's fight. Let's go.
Yeah, she's ready to blow up I mean, she was in the finale in a big way. I mean, her text message
was.
was
Was what ended it all.
she was like, "What? That was my worst thing I said." It's like, "Excuse me?"
Your husband and you're into voyeurism and cuck and
Oh,
jerking off in corners. What can I say?
oh my god. She's like, "I could have
Um,
mentioned your looks."
yeah, right. So I don't think I watched Potomac actually on Sunday. Now that I'm sitting here and thinking about it, but um, any general thoughts on Mia and Ink, and
Yeah.
where do we go from here
So
with those two?
I sped through it because I was like, oh no, I got to do my homework.
Oh my God, I'm
And
sorry.
I fast forwarded through. Giselle went to like a Office Depot with her girls. I'm like, I don't care. Um, Mia is pathological. There's a scene in this episode between Ray and G. And those two,
Oh, I did watch. I did watch. I did
they've
watch.
got
I saw that.
chemistry. But see, like you forgot you watched it. Like that's
I know.
bad.
They do have chemistry.
I thought the season started out fun, but maybe it was because like
Hmm.
last season was so not fun
Dark.
that I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is like we're getting somewhere. And Stacy's obviously like an interesting ding dong to watch because you're just like, what are
Hmm.
you doing, girl? And I like Kierna so much. I think she's like really beautiful. I just like Mia is, you just can't trust anything Mia is saying. She's just such a liar. So even though it is like she's saying these things, you're like, okay, this is stirring it up. It's not true. So I guess it was good to have G come on and fact check, but it's like, do we
Yeah.
trust G? Like and Karen's DUI is the most fascinating, difficult, compelling thing going on, and we're just done with it.
Yeah, because she doesn't want to address it,
Of
which I
course
think
not.
is a big. Of course not, but I think that's where Shannon won me over, right? Is that she was
Mhm.
so vulnerable about
Mhm.
how much she fucked up, and for Karen to double down on getting through this trial, I will still know. I just the way her mind worked on trying to fight the DUI, and then all
Yeah.
this footage coming out.
Ooh.
It's I don't love it. Yeah, Mia, I was a Mia defender for a good amount of time because I thought she made good TV. But
Mhm.
then we've reached a level of pathological lying
Mhm.
that is confusing. It's like that. I think that's where the elaborating, to bring it back to Bren too, it's like that's where the elaborating stops being fun, is when like no one can follow the no one can create opinions, no one can like feel bad for you, fight for you, or hate you because no one can understand what's going on. Like you
Yeah.
just are navigating in lies constantly. I don't even think she knows what's real or not. And it's tough to watch. So
Yeah, I
she's
feel
another
for
one
the
I think didn't go well.
kids.
I
I
know.
know.
And that's what Wendy said this on Watch What Happens Live, which I was always a Wendy lover. I'm really liking her this season actually. But she's on Watch What Happens Live with Kiki Palmer, which Kiki is like a diehard Potomac fan, I guess. It was a really good episode actually. And Wendy is like, what about the kids? Like
Mhm.
the kids will see this, you know?
Mhm.
And like in the end, like you're playing out your like child's who your child's
Paternity.
father is.
Yeah.
Yeah, on television for the world to see. And
Yeah,
it's
and
tough.
those kids, I mean, when I see her filming with them, she seems like a wonderful mom. They seem
Yeah,
to really love her. They're
absolutely.
so cute. They're at such a like tough age for this to be what's
Mhm.
going on. Her and Ink aren't together anymore. I'm so confused by their financial situation. I don't know. It's just like I do like Ashley is also trying, Ashley's like, okay, I'll go off a building. I'll be a drag king. I'll date this weird Benny Blanco man. Like she's really like doing stuff and I'm still just like, I don't really care. Like I do miss Candace.
I deeply miss Candace. She brought lols. She's a gifted comedian. I truly think so.
Yeah.
In that interview chair, she brings comedic timing that some of these ladies could take some notes from. And she starts drama.
Yeah. And like
I
Giselle,
miss
I
her too.
don't know. I just
Yeah. Well, a show that came to me in a dark moment this past week was I kind of jumped in with the gals and the gays and the gals in Southern Hospitality. Have you watched it at all?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
They are bringing
Yeah.
television.
Yeah.
I didn't, I watched season one and I was like, that was okay. Like
Mhm.
they have something, but I don't
Mhm.
know if I care.
Mhm.
This season, I'm like looking forward to watching it this evening. Like I
Mhm.
I really enjoyed this character. Her name is Emmy.
Emmy.
Emmy is having the age-old housewife. I um decided to pick up fitness and now all I can do is work out
Yeah.
and bodybuild and like it's going to be my entire personality. Like it's a
Mhm.
Bravo trope we've hit with like Tamara and Teresa and she's
Mhm.
in that mental space and she had a meltdown on this most recent episode where essentially the girls at the bar thought that she was bringing all of their dresses for free with her like Fashion Nova influencer credit, and then having them pay her for the
Oh,
dresses. Did you see that episode? Did you see
no.
this?
I
She has a
haven't seen the
meltdown.
latest one. I thought the meltdown was Will related. Her
No, the
boyfriend.
meltdown is about Fashion Nova dresses. It literally is
Okay.
about that.
And do you think she is guilty as charged?
Her reaction makes you believe yes. She
Okay.
starts screaming,
Oh, is this when
and
she says, "This is what I
sobbing.
get for being a good person"?
Yes, it's not about a friend.
Will.
It's not about her boyfriend
It's
Will
about
who's cheating on
dresses.
her. It's
And hates
about
her.
dresses.
And like she's so
Hates.
determined she is so hot, gorgeous, seems like pretty fun. Her body before she got into fitness was my dream body.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, well, that's never gonna happen for me. And she is dating this guy that she is like so determined to be married and like engaged and married and have children with because he's in law school. And it's like, girl, there's a lot of lawyers. Like,
There isn't. He's ugly. Can we
I
say?
know. He was like, did you know that this was in last season? He was like a runway model.
Where? In Charleston?
No, I believe in New York City. Like, I think
I could
he,
see
when someone is like in, like,
ugly, but they're good
yeah.
for modeling.
But I'm just
Yeah,
like, why do you care about this? Like, God, like open your DMs. I'm sure that there are tight ends in the NFL talking to you. Like, you don't, a lawyer, who
who cares?
who
Yeah, and then
cares?
who cares? And the other big storyline is that this guy TJ
He's always
is
stirring.
always stirring and in love with the new guy at the bar named Michaels, I believe.
Who is
And Michael
22 and the GM.
and which
And I'm
tells you
like,
everything you need to know about a business.
of a nightlife. Like, I'm like, you couldn't even go in there 13 months ago.
And TJ is 33 and he's pining after a 22-year-old GM of Republic in Charleston. Sometimes
Well,
therapy is the answer for
yeah.
y'all, and you don't see it, you know.
In TJ's defense, he was like, listen, everyone in Charleston is closeted. And like, there's one gay bar, there's no options. So I think
Yeah.
there's this hunk who's in the same circle as me. I got to make it work with him, or I'm going to have to be with Will in 10 years.
You know, Will is down for a handy or a blowy
For
from
sure.
at the dorm.
I mean, I would love TJ to say like which members of the Southern Charm cast have accepted favors on the DL.
Yeah, he's alluded to that he's hooked up with a lot of DL men in Charleston. And who of that cast do you think would accept that first?
Whitney.
1000%. But who would want to give that hand job? Talk about people looking like they smell like poo. I don't think that man smells right.
I dropped Southern. I've been with Southern Charm since day one, and then
Yeah.
I watched a TikTok about who they all voted for, and I was like, I actually just can't be here anymore.
You're okay with the Trump supporter housewives, but the Trump supporting the Charmers, no?
Yeah,
I kind of feel
because
that way. I feel
yeah.
that way myself.
I'm not
Like,
not okay. Like, it's like, but I'm like, I'm in Orange County, but it's just like this new. It's like, I don't know this bitch Sally. Like, we have no history together. So it's like, you don't like trans people. I just met you. Get out of here. You know, like, there's just
Right.
not. And like Tamara Barney. Well, I don't know who Tamara voted for. Let's see, like an obvious.
Well, Emily Simpson allegedly.
Well,
is the
Emily,
Trumper, which
I hate Emily Simpson. I think Emily Simpson is an awful person.
is why I
And if
like
she
her.
got fired from the show, I'd be thrilled.
Also a good Traitors cast member. I think she
Yeah.
would be good on Traitors. Yeah.
I just thought she was so mean to Jen. I just thought it was so distasteful.
I agree. The ganging up on. I'm never here for a gang up on these shows. It doesn't work.
You're a non-practicing lawyer who's in-laws pay for everything, and you want to be mean to this woman who is a ding dong and fell in love with this man. Yeah, you're both
Right.
idiots.
And Jen clocked it. Jen was like, please relax. Your in-laws pay for
Yes,
everything.
that was thrilling for me.
Jen is my MVP of the year.
I love Jen. I don't want to know who she voted for. I don't want to know.
I hope she didn't, honestly.
Yeah, I hope she forgot.
Because I don't trust. I think she was teaching a Bikram yoga class like during the polling time.
She was in Vegas spending Shohei's money, and it's like, okay, girl, you're not registered in Nevada, and we actually don't want you to be.
Wait, two last things before I let you go. One, that had to have been a worlds colliding for you, that the baseball gambling scandal made its way to the housewifery.
So thrilling. And I love Shohei Ohtani, like would do anything for him. My family's all in. And so for that to be a crossover, whenever anything happens like that, like even when Jen Shah hit Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, people were like, is her husband that rich? I'm like, the University of Utah defensive coordinator? No, like there are just sort of like sports things that you can see. Croy Bierman. I was like, no, NFL contracts are not guaranteed. They are spending well beyond their means for him to be like an okay defensive lineman.
Megan, have I ever told you that I played left guard and defensive tackle?
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was in my younger years when I was chubby, and they didn't know where to put me, so they were just like, "You can do this. So just kind of run at."
And did you like it?
Lay on them. The running and touching men was nice, but by men I mean fellow children. But the people was tough for me. A lot of bullying.
Yeah.
There was one game where it was my dad still tells the story because it just kind of sums up my football experience. The team that I was on was like decently good. Like they didn't think it was like there was 3 teams within the school. Like there was like a team for like the little guys, and then there was like an A and B team.
Okay.
And I was on the B team.
Okay.
And we did much better than the A team. Like played a lot of the same people and just did better. And so we were having this like great season. And one of the final games, our quarterback ended up becoming the quarterback for our high school football team. And so he was like the big football star of Flower Mound, Texas. And so he knew how to play football like since like birth.
Yeah.
So we're at like this like final game of the season, and we're in the middle of a play, and there's like 5 seconds left on the clock, but like we just need to do the final play. The clock stops. Every single person on the field except the quarterback stops moving because they're like, well, you can go home now. It's time's up. And for those who don't know that, like if you're in the middle of a play, like you can finish the play with the clock still running.
Yeah.
So he picked up the ball and he ran like a 75-yard touchdown because like no one
was trying.
Yeah. Everyone was like, well, no, Mom, like the game's over. Like we're going home and getting Cece's pizza. Like I'm not playing anymore. So we were a bunch of idiots, just didn't know what we had plays. I don't remember what the plays were, but I just like ran at people.
Texas football is no joke.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it was middle school, so
I know, but still, they make shows. They make shows about them.
They do. It was a wild time.
But yeah, whenever sports crosses over into it, I'm so thrilled, and I get so many questions, and it's really, I go, this is my time, because like we're coming up on the Super Bowl, and you'll see like memes that are like, Bravo fans, like, it'll be like, this reunion is my Super Bowl, like it's always like Bravo fans don't like football, and it's like, I do. Am I the one? Am I the one that the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl and the reunion is the reunion, and they're both equally important to me?
I think you are in the minority there. But yeah. I will say I watched football this last Sunday. I watched both games on Sunday.
Taylor's obviously done a lot for outreach.
Taylor has done that. I don't like Taylor Swift, so she hasn't done that for me. It's more like college football. I mean, sorry, growing up in Texas, college football was everything. So
Yeah.
like I have context.
Hmm.
So we just, we watch here and there. Wait, last question and then I'll let you go, Megan. Who do you want to win Traitors? Who do
Gosh.
you want and who do you think will, I guess? Because those are kind of two very different things.
Yeah. I mean, I do really like Gabby. And like I think
Yeah.
she's really like funny. I kind of like the Bambi trio. Like they are
Mm-hmm.
really endearing to me. I I don't know cuz last season all the like Survivor people that were like so good at Survivor ended up failing at it. So it's like Boston Rob does seem to know his way around these maneuvers, but I could see him
Mm-hmm.
getting figured out pretty fast. So I would like I would love like Dolores to win, but I don't think
That's
that's
what I
gonna
was gonna
happen.
say. Yeah. I think I would love Dolores. I love Wes, like as
Yeah.
a person who watches competition reality. I think
Uh-huh.
he always nails it.
Yeah.
And I think he seems like also like a nice person. He's like
Yeah.
a dick in the game, but I think he's like actually kind outside of the game.
Yes. And
Yeah,
he's
I
on
I would
to what's going on, obviously.
love to see that, but I
Mhm.
worry that Traders is kind of a game that is hard to play, I think, when you're in it because
Mhm.
you can't play too big, and all these gamers know so much about the game, so they want to
Mhm.
boss people around, and it's not going to work. But
Mhm.
yeah,
I'm
I think
liking
Gabby would be
Zac Efron's brother.
same, loving him. He was a surprise, Dylan. Him and Bob going back and forth, and
Oh
also it's
my
so
god.
cute on social media. They're like besties now
Good.
after the show. I just
Good.
love to see like people be a good sport about these shows,
Yeah.
and I think that's fun to see. And Bob played way too big, way
I
too early, but
know.
did make good TV. I wish they were still in the
I know.
mix.
I'm sad to lose
Yeah.
them.
Well, Megan, thank you so much for being here. This was a delight. A
Thank you so
nice,
much.
hopefully, a nice respite from your week. I needed to talk about these shows. I'm happy that you were here to do it with me. Let everyone know where they can follow you, subscribe to you, all the good things.
I would love that. I am going to be in DC. I'm performing at the Kennedy Center.
Wait,
Um,
what?
it's a small
That's
room there.
amazing.
It's not the big room. It's not like where you
Okay,
see
you were
Julie
like,
Andrews, but it is the Kennedy Center.
regardless.
Off Broadway Kennedy Center. In
Hmm.
DC, I'll be there for two shows February 8th.
Oh,
Do I have that
great.
right? It's a Saturday night. So I would love to see folks out for that. I love DC. Yes, February 8th. And then you can follow me at Better Megan Gailey. My sports podcast is called Sports Bitches. I host it with two other gals. I think we talk about sports in like a very approachable way. We are definitely talking about who is hot, who is crazy, who is cheating. So there is like if you're like, what is going on there? I think like start with women talking about sports. That would be like a wonderful entry point.
I agree. And who's gonna go to the Super Bowl and who's gonna win? Do you think?
Gosh, I want it to be Bills Commanders.
Yeah,
I fear it's going to be Chiefs Eagles.
yeah. That's probably what's gonna happen.
And nobody wants that at all.
No.
So we'll see.
And yeah, follow me at the Tom Hamlet and Dumpster Dive Instagram. I still post on there, but if you want to talk to me, get to at the Tom Hamlet and make sure to subscribe to my new podcast, Good Judy's. Comes out every Wednesday with me and my best friends in the whole wide world, talking about all things gay shit. So
Ooh.
check that out. And bye, y'all. Bye. Say bye, everyone. Megan. Bye, guys.
Bye.